Hello and welcome to a very special channel, Awake from the Slumber. A channel like no other, a channel that says it is as it is. A channel that equips you with biblical facts. My name is Robert Onsando. Today I want to bring to your attention another mind-boggling statement that you'll find in one of the most trusted books and circulated within the Seventh-day Adventist quarters. And this is all about the Lord's Passover and the Easter Passover. Something people call them Easter and, the Lord's Passover. There's a lot of confusion in that. But, we all, we've just come from celebrating the Easter holidays and, the whole world was shut down because of that. And they were all in festive mood celebrating. But do we have anything like the Lord's Passover in the Bible? But what caught my attention was one of the scripts that I found in one of the best-known Seventh-day Adventist books, and I want to share that book, and we'll reason together when it comes to this. This is the Seventh-day Adventist Believe, and in page 235 and 236. Because my caption is not as clear, I decided to rewrite the same thing without adding or removing anything in the next slide. So this is what it says. The Bible does not specify how frequently the Lord's Supper should be celebrated. Adventists have followed the practice of many Protestants to have this ordinance 4 times a year. In adopting the quarterly plan, the early Advent believers felt that in holding the service more frequently, there would be a danger of formality and failure to realize the solemnity of the service. It seems to be a middle-of-the-road decision between celebrating it too often and leaving it too long a period, such as once a year. That is the W.E. Reed Frequency of the Lord's Passover Ministry, April 1955, page 43, Seventh-day Adventists Believe, page 235 and 236. What caught my eyes is the Bible does not specify how frequently the Lord's Supper should be celebrated. I don't care how often people do it, but what struck me was the Bible does not. That's a very strong term, that the Bible does not. What if we find there's a place in the Bible that it specifies? Then how will you defend yourself that the Bible does not specify how frequently the Lord's Supper should be celebrated? And they have just decided to follow the Protestants, doing it more than 4 times, actually quarterly. So because the Bible does not specify, then what do? Let's copy what other people are doing. Let's do what the world is doing. Let's do what the Protestants are doing, having it 4 times. And they say that because it's a middle-of-the-road decision from doing it more frequently or from doing it once a year. So because the Bible doesn't show, let's copy what other people are doing. So that's what caught my attention, and I thought that it's important for me to share with you this, and we reason together and see whether the Bible has anything to do with that. And I came up with something from several verses. The first verse is Leviticus 23, verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover. What? In the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover. So there are 3 things that you should take note of. 1, there is a month, there is a day, and the date is 14th day. There is a month has 30 days or so, but the 14th day of the very first month, you start counting from 1 until 14th. The first month in the evening, that is when the Lord's Supper should be partaken. And what did they say? The Bible does not. And there is a date here, there is a month, and there is also time. If you read the book of Deuteronomy 16:1, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God, for in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Now listen to this. The Bible again is clear in the book of Deuteronomy. After the Israelites had been redeemed or brought out of bondage, then there is a repetition. Observe the month of Abib. Observe this first month. Abib is the first month, and keep the Passover. Because the Bible talks about the Passover is on the first month. So when they talk about observe this month, that means the month of Abib is the first month. And that is when the Passover should be kept, because that's the time our Father redeemed the Israelites from Egypt through Moses. So we know there is a time and there's a date. I don't know what these guys mean. So again, if you read the book of, what about Jesus' parents? Because Jesus had parents, and we want to see whether they also kept the Passover. Luke 2:41. The Bible is also clear, because it says, now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. So they went there every year at the feast of the Passover. It had a specific time when they had to go there every year, once a year, for the feast of the Passover. So that is also very clear. We also want to see what happened during Jesus' time and his disciples. Did he instruct them to do anything about the Passover? Because some people may say, no, that is Old Testament and we have to forget about it. That is, I don't know, that's why we are saying the Lord did not, there is no frequency in that. We can do it many times as we want, as often. Actually, the challenge is when people read as often, often is, even in maths, if you went through a mathematics class, that is a frequency. Frequency means as often. So if it is weekly, if it is monthly, if it is yearly, you do that exactly at the exact time. That is what we call frequency. You guys, if you read that in your mathematics, you know that very well. That shouldn't even confuse you. So the book of Luke 22:15 and 16, and he said unto them, with the desire, this is Jesus anyway saying, with the desire I have desired to eat this Passover. He's talking about this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of God. So already he has confirmed that it has a specific time, and he's the one who told John, I think John and Peter, Simon, to go and prepare a place where they would eat the Passover. And when that time came, they reclined and they did it exactly what God wanted. So what I'm trying to put across is the Lord's Passover has a specific time. When somebody tells you the Bible does not, then you have to ask yourself several questions. Why are they saying that the Bible does not specify? The Bible does not specify how frequently the Lord's Supper should be celebrated. Adventists, therefore, have followed the practice of many Protestants to have this ordinance 4 times a year. It is a middle-of-the-road decision. I just wanted to point out to that statement that is quite mind-boggling from a well-trusted book, well-trusted organization. Then you read yourself, then see, make your own decision. May God bless you as we continue sharing more boggling statements from trusted books. God